Well, hello, good morning. Yet another day, yet another Modstream. Here we are. Before I go into Inconsummate stuff, I should convert something for iquare, so that's what I'm gonna do next. Oh, what's up, Pullman? Thank you for making the map, dude. Hope you found the analysis useful. That's one of those maps where really the only thing I could criticize is the some of the visuals, where I figure a lot of that is just going to be polished up over time, and none of it is so jarring that it breaks the ability to actually play the game, obviously, so... I try to stick to what I can talk about in a little bit more of a in-depth manner when it comes to that stuff, which is usually gameplay, so... I don't think I was able to really give you any suggestions, but hopefully you still found it gratifying. I'm right there with you, man. I'm getting started with Unreal, and it's a real journey. And I am by no means an artist, so I'm sure I'll be doing quite similar stuff in the near future. But cheers, man. Glad you were, I'm surprised... I don't know how people even find these videos. I didn't even post that one. Oops, I closed everything. How did you... Who... Did somebody, like, send you the video or something? Or did you just happen to be hanging? Alright. I got them all here. Oh, okay. I see. Cool. Algorithm working in my favor. Not something I ever thought I would say. Yeah, exactly. That reminds me, I should probably toss that onto a... I usually post those videos to Reddit, but I guess yesterday I just passed out instead. So, try and fix that. What's up, Don? Out of interest, I'm working on... Well, right now I'm converting a graphic from another RTS game. It's actually a Brazilian RTS, I think. It's called Outlive. It has a similar enough turn, or a similar enough visual style to Starcraft, which is the game that I'm converting it into. After I'm done converting that, this conversion is just going to be for some guy that I know. Some guy, programmer buddy of mine who would prefer to spend time writing code and other things in improving the engine. The engine is closed source, similar to Warcraft 3. We don't have access to a source code, so he's got to basically reverse engineer and hack the game so that it works. And so, since he's already done so much for me and other people in my community to help us out, I figured out least I could do is convert some graphics from other games. So that's what I'm doing now. After that, I'm going to work on this map that you see on your screen here, which is a StarCraft map. I'm trying to make RTS content where you're playing an RTS, you know, having to build a base, expand, tech up, attack, that sort of thing, where you're up against AI that do all the same thing. Now, if you're familiar enough with if you remember back to your days of playing Warcraft, or even the original campaigns, you'll know that the AI very rarely expands. I think I'm not even sure if they ever expand in the campaign, but, you know, it's very rare for the AI to actually use, like, to fight you on fair ground and be able to win, because obviously they're really bad. And so Blizzard just pre-placed a bunch of stuff for them. I don't want to pre-place, like, that much anyway. All of the pre-placed units over here are actually just going to be they're markers for where the AI will eventually place it. So they're not even there in the map start. So I'm trying to make something that's skill testing but single player. In terms of CS:GO, I actually did mess around with the bots, trying to improve them for the multiplayer nights that we do. Every Saturday we play CS:GO on a bunch of community maps, and we basically just build up and have like 2 or 3 bots to, you know, per human player to whatever the cap of people spawn points are on the map, so that we can support large armies. And one of the things that I would like to do out of that is try to build something more exciting. But unfortunately, the bot modding is so limited, it seems, from my research anyway, in CSGO. Can't do anything to the extent of what I can do with Starcraft. Oh yeah, unlimited resources is another thing. So I call that like your starting advantage, right? It would be like if you gave bots more armor or health or something because they're too dumb to actually challenge you. I don't know if you've played the operation or any of the missions in there, but there's these things like the heavy phoenix or whatever that guy is. He's got like 8 deagle headshots worth of health or something ridiculous, and like it's probably armor and health, a mix of those in high amounts. To me, that's so boring. Like you could make him actually threatening, and the only way that he's threatening is that he doesn't die nearly as quickly as anybody else. But it's not like he's going to punish you for poor play. He's not going to actually like out-position you or like obviously bots can out-aim players really easily, but there's never an attempt, it seems, to make bots that try to position better than you and or like they use a weapon. I don't know. It's hard to find examples in FPS games of AI that have high skill expression and listen for sound cues and stuff. And yeah, it takes more effort to do that, but that's what you should be doing as a developer, I think. So when I get into Unreal, that'll be what I'm working on actually as an FPS. Mostly I want to make something that's like similar to the old Battlefront games where there's like giant fights going on, except it uses like CSGO shooting mechanics or something like that, because I really like the gunplay of CSGO. I'll probably make the movement a little bit more free-form, like a bit more like Quake or something. Not quite that fast, but something like that. And then I'll take inspiration from a bunch of other places for the mechanics and stuff, but it'll be like no classes. You just pick up weapons that you can. You upgrade your weapons when you can. It'd be pretty cool, I think. That's the idea. I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get there, but in a few of those missions they added utility use. Yeah, yeah. So like there's like set pieces where they throw grenades or something at specific locations. Yeah, I mean if the AI was really good at throwing grenades, or even passively competent at throwing grenades and doing them well, like pop flashing, and then there would be more tactical like worth to those bots. It would be much more exciting, I think, in that situation. So people seem, I think, in general, to dismiss single-player content or co-op versus AI content as being like it's not really meant to challenge you. It's more so meant to just be fun with friends, or it's supposed to tell a story or something like that. But I find that to be a rather fallacious argument. I prefer when something is actually challenging, and that'll make me more immersed in the story anyway if it's challenging, because it's like, if a character says, wow, that was a really tough battle, but I just breezed through it, it's like, stuff like that gets you. I can't get invested in the stakes of a story if some stuff is super easy, generally speaking. There we go. Found a happy medium there. Right, yeah. No, that's true. I mean, it's the same thing like a parallel that I like to draw. I don't know where my voice went. Hold on one sec. Okay. A parallel I like to draw is when you have a situation like... It's like the fallacy of it doesn't exist, therefore it can't exist, basically. It's like, well, I've never played a good CSGO map, so how do you know that you could make one? Imagine somebody saying that. Like, sure, there's good CSGO maps out there. Sure, there's maps that can reward, good positioning, and there's maps that can allow you to be skill tested and all that stuff. So, like, it's a fallacious argument. It's just coming from somebody who's never played anything better. There's been a lot of discussion on my Discord server recently about that regarding RTS, because a lot of people have been talking about AI and how AI that's any good. Like, they're basically saying it's okay for AI to cheat, like to have a lot of resources stockpiled, a lot of pre-placed units. having a lot of unfair starting advantages over the player. They think that that's okay because the AI is going to be bad no matter what. And instead of saying, like, maybe the AI shouldn't be bad. I don't know. They're starting off with the wrong premise, I feel like. So that's what I'm trying to avoid, generally speaking. So that's where we're at, really. But I'm just glad that I'm able to make high quality content as it stands. It'd be pretty nice to get some of this stuff out there. Oh yeah, it definitely. I can see where people they don't want to put a lot of effort into something that is not going to give them a lot of return. For me, not to come off sounding like an anarcho communist or something, but I don't care about money in that sense. Like, if I can just make enough money from the base game's sales, I mean, I'm never gonna even throw microtransactions in my shit. So that I would view that as like, no matter how desperate I was for cash, I would view that as like a betrayal of my own what's the term? Morals, ethics, something like that. I just look at it like, I don't know, I don't want to be a part of that trend where I think the market is such that you can successfully make money and like make a living. You can do so without gouging people, in my estimation. But I have not paid attention to the Dota 2 AI stuff. Although Dota 2 was always like in the back of my head, I was thinking like, that is a game where it seems like you probably could make an RTS. Like it actually has the basics for it, right? It has basic ideas where you're able to. I'm gonna have to move this tree. It has the ability to select units that aren't just your hero, which is pretty rare in MOBAs. So I'm pretty sure people have already made like RTS style things in it. So. Should be cool. Could be something that I mess around with. But as far as Dota 2 AI related to them actually controlling the heroes, which is probably what you were referencing, more so than like a new game mode. I have not paid attention to that, but that is something that vaguely interests me just because it's one of those things where I'm hoping that when people play against that, they feel like, wow, I wish more games did that. And that creates like more of a demand. Because usually what happens is anytime there's a situation where you have people who are like consumers who don't know that there's a better product out there because none of the products out there use this way. Like there's a better method to doing a certain thing. And consumers, when they don't know that, they can't ask for it, generally speaking. Like you really need somebody to come up with something different. And hopefully that's what the AI in Dota 2 is like. Right, yeah. I mean, stuff like that, that's probably, believe it or not, that's probably the future of competition. Nobody's going to really pay, or very few people will pay to see AI fight each other in tournaments, or even AI fight players in tournaments. That's like a fun one-off thing. Especially once it becomes obvious that the AI overlords are here to stay. But what I think will happen is I think you'll see a lot of situations where the like AI machine learning stuff becomes like contracted out to teams, and they use machine learning to like figure out what a good strategy is or something. Like, I know it sounds somewhat far-fetched, but I genuinely believe that something like that will occur. People will use that to find their next big strategy. Right. Well, just when you said that it changed the way that pro players play, I feel like that's just a natural thing. Is like AI can dedicate a crazy amount of resources to trying a lot of insane things, that or a lot of stuff that's like on its face absurd to try in a professional environment at no stakes at all. What happens if they lose? Nothing. Nobody even really, like, they can track the results or whatever, but nobody's going to pay attention to, oh, this bot lost. Like, that nothing's, there are no stakes, so you don't have to worry about anything like that. So it's super attractive for players because basically they don't have to worry about the, they're not going to need to worry about coming up with their own tactics or strategies or like team compositions or item builds. But what they will have to worry about is executing, like mechanically. On whatever the idea actually is. So will be neat. I'm interested, seeing where it all goes. You follow Pro CS at all? Or any other pro games? Oh, I know why. Oh, these probably need to be two different graphics. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, the whole Corona thing really fucked over a lot of esports events, apparently. Somewhat surprising. 70 and 51. Why? I feel like no crowd means no, not as many stakes anyway. And yeah, I always stream those, they're called Fraud Night because the server, the Discord server is the No Frauds Club. Fraud is a big inside joke. But we actually played Feast a few times, I think, on the last one. If you're looking for what people were doing. It's completely PvE. We don't have enough players to play PvP. But oh yeah, I can grab 2 sets. What was last Saturday? Yeah, the video should be Fraud Night 7 Mar 2020. Or 7 Mar 20 or something. But I will definitely be streaming the games again today. Oh, really? What the hell? They run slower even with the knife? Because they usually take out the knife when they're moving. That is insane. Well, they probably take a really inaccurate timing or something. Like, or not a timing. Like a dumb route. So yeah, I was probably mistaken. Which timing? Was it the truck timing where the CTs can get further down or something? So whenever I play that and there's a... me, or if I'm going to B and there's CTs over at B, I usually can see them from that like crack between the two buildings. You can like see into truck without, like, it's like a very small angle. On which side? Like which side can't get there? Oh, okay. Gotcha. That truck spot is actually pretty fun to play around. It's like just chaotic enough because it's not like the architecture that you're fighting around is obviously it's a truck with some stuff on it. It's not a building or a box or something. So it's like a little bit less predictable immediately in your brain. So you really have to start like looking around. There's like a lot of angles you can check if somebody's trying to push you. But you also gotta watch out for a lot of different angles that they could be pushing from. So I don't know. I think it's a nice piece of geometry, a little bit of chaos thrown in there. What am I looking for? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I usually throw a Molotov from that crack in between the two buildings that I was talking about earlier. And it works out pretty well. What was the, what were people's complaints about it? If they had any. So this turret kind of looks fine to me. No, I think that's when you know that, right? It becomes something that you can build or balance around. Like, I think there's going to be a... it's not quite as back against the wall cover-wise as something like Pit on Inferno, as another example. But it still allows players to... I think there's going to be highlight plays there, you know what I mean? Or there certainly could be highlight plays made in that area. I think it'll work out. How do you guys go about getting playtests? Do you, I know there's like a MapCore face it thing, but I thought that, I'm pretty sure that's only for the finalists or accepted maps or something. I could be wrong about that. I don't think I ever did any play tests on there. But yeah, I'm not sure how you go about getting players for your tests. I don't know about that one. There we go. This one was much easier than the last one I did. Way less to recolor. All right. Oh, okay, cool. It's cool that there's at least some sort of organized group that you can go to and get your map looked at, you know what I mean? Pretty rare to find custom content in any fashion having that much of an outreach, so neat. One of the things that I think you probably do run the risk of if you're in a situation where the feedback is limited to other mappers who are active in the scene is you can... So in Starcraft 2, custom content is pretty much dead. It's been dead for a while. And you can say that, oh, there's still some projects that get made or whatever, but generally, like, there's nothing big is coming out of that scene ever for the rest of time. And nothing big really came out of that scene ever. You get some projects that got clout to them, like the Starcraft's conversion, and stuff like that. There was even some project that got kickstarted, I think, or something insane, that did not deliver on what it was promised, as most Kickstarters are. But the biggest issue with that scene is that if you do want to make something in StarCraft 2, you want to make a map or whatever, you really have to play like a political game almost, where if you want feedback on your map, you probably have to go give feedback to other people so that they'd be interested in giving you feedback. But you can't give them bad feedback. If you give them bad feedback, you're going to get curmudgeoned. Or whatever. Clobbered. Bludgeoned. There you go. That's what I was thinking of. Bludgeoned. You'll get bludgeoned out of the scene. I was never interested in making... Well, I had a very passing interest in making something in StarCraft 2, but after asking enough people, I realized that what I wanted to do was impossible. But even before I even gave any interest in that, I was trying to give people like the same sort of analysis that I give for the CSGO videos. I was less articulate and probably a little bit more bombastic. So I probably made a bit of a fool out of myself. But I noticed that people were very shocked to hear anything negative as far as that scene goes. So I guess what I'm saying in a roundabout way is I wouldn't want that to happen to the Counter-Strike scene in a similar way, where you're encouraged to give feedback you don't necessarily mean, so that those, or to temper your analysis and honesty with, you know, the whole like, oh, if I say something bad about their map, they might not play my map, something like that, you know. Not that I'm even saying that it's likely to happen or that it seems like it's happening. That is something that I have noticed about the communities that are organized around people who want to make stuff, is if people are not honest with each other, it can get kind of ugly. But I don't think that... From what I've seen in the MapCore threads, I haven't seen anything that would be that alarming. I think I saw people shitting on War Owl. That was about it. This is like half the community seems to like that guy. Or some of them like that guy. Some of them probably have no opinion. But then there's like a couple of people who are like, War Owl's an idiot. Fuck him. And I don't know where to stand on that one, but it is somewhat funny from the outside looking in. Oh, nice. I feel like, yeah, if you've got a community where they don't mind trading in negative feedback, where it's warranted, obviously, then you're going to avoid most of the issues that I was just describing. That's pretty cool. Not that you should be, again, like, I'm not arguing for the idea where you're just running out there and taking a shit on whatever the most recently released map is, but constructive criticism is the kind of the lifeblood of any creative scene, I think. Any creative community. What's up, Espinel? Wouldn't I have much more freedom in StarCraft 2 with it? No, because AI in StarCraft 2, if you do more than one AI running in the map, you will break modern hardware, basically. StarCraft 2 is a horribly programmed game, and is not a very... its performance is among the worst of any AAA title, AAA, that I've played ever, period. No, full stop. Warcraft 3 is also up there, but because it's so old, it doesn't matter as much. Although AI in that game, if you... That game just crashes to desktop with no debug message at all. So it's also not fitting. But yeah, I have no freedom in StarCraft 2. Like, in theory, yeah, I can do more things. I can, like, implement tactical AI easier. I can do more things easier. But I actually have more freedom in Brood War if I'm willing to put up with that shit, and I have the most freedom in Unreal when I make my own RTS in, like, 5 years. That's what I'm going towards. How does War Owl make him look like a terrible judge? I think the complaint that I read was something to the effect of if the map is not like Mirage, he hates it or something. I don't know. You obviously have more of a presence in this community than I do, so you would know, but that sounds pretty funny to me. Oh, man. But yeah, I agree with what you said. You got to be able to... Even if feedback isn't constructive in the way that it's delivered, I still think it can be useful to you. Like, if you get, like, a really emotional response to something, you're like, wow, my map had that effect on this person. You can't read too much into that, because that person could, in theory, be, like, an unstable lunatic. But assuming you don't make that assumption, yeah, I see no reason why it can't be useful, even if it isn't... worded in the best way. Because you get a lot of people who... The most feedback they'll give you is, this sucks, downvote. And it's like, alright, well. So if they gave you more details than that, that's already a win. I'm looking forward to it too, Espinel. Oh yeah, that's true, Pullman. I forget. That's something that nobody ever talks about. Is like the people who think they're being helpful and supportive by telling you that you made a great map and that you're a great map maker, but not giving any reasons why. It's like, man, I appreciate you, but I don't really. Where's my... There we go. What's up, iquare? What's up, Connor? Welcome. Somehow it was insane and boring at the same time. Oh yeah, I forgot. I have to publicate my latest Battle Realms VOD. Dude, that game, honestly, is so off the fucking rails, man. I have no idea. Couldn't tell you what's going on with that. Couldn't even begin. I guess we'll call this one Bird Bitch.
Is that a fucking crow?
Hell yeah. Thanks for the follow. Now you're a crow. Man, that sound file is pretty good too. What do we got here? Oh yes, various shots of me building. Wait until you see the second video, iquare. You are gonna lose your mind. Because the AI just rebuilds everywhere, the only way I can stop them is by building towns across the entire map, so that I can have vision. Because my units don't have any vision. Oh man. Duplicate that. Oh, I just put it in the wrong playlist. Oops. There we go. And yeah, going back to what you were saying earlier, I'm surprised that somebody who's got like as big of a reach as War Owl makes that fallacy about the whole like, oh, this map is great because I'm winning. Like you'd think that wouldn't happen. Has anybody tried to talk to him about that behavior? Say like, hey, have you considered being more honest about this? Or does he not pay attention to it? I don't know. I don't know why you would necessarily know either, but that seems like something that you would want to address. You'd be like, hey guys, I acted like a fool. But hopefully, I guess War Owl is kind of like he's kind of like a spotlight for your map, right? A lot of people will look at it, and hopefully some people that look at it from War Owl's stream will go on to play it and give you some actual feedback. Maybe that's just how it is, and maybe he recognizes that too, and he just wants to have fun while he's doing that. In which case, yeah, he could do it a little bit more responsibly, but whatever. At least he's doing it at all. Unfortunately, that's where we are with feedback. You can write a hook for... Oh, yeah. So you're talking about the Scarab crash that was in your full toilet? Well, I guess if you could write a hook that will fix it, that's fine enough, but if we don't know what's causing the crash, that's another level of confusion. Oh, I did another graphic for you, by the way. I have to send you that. That's what I was in the middle of trying to do. I'll import this. Uh, 3, 4, I think. This looks like a glider, so I assume you're not going to need a shadow for it, but if you decide you want one, just let me know and I'll make one for you. A hoverer. I'll have to torture Connor again. That's a good idea. How do you feel about the fact that I mean, in some ways, right, the contest is theirs. They should do whatever the fuck they want to do with it. But something really rubs me the wrong way with the fact that 2.5 out of the 4 criteria that they used, or was it 3.5? I think it was 2.5. Of the criteria that they used for judging maps was based around aesthetics and like visual stuff instead of gameplay. I think I've seen siege tanks kill ultramarine scarabs in Hydra, so I don't think it's a standard death. But you can test that just by running one of the Hydra maps, and I think it's the Hydra A map. Lets you attack a building and siege tanks that are in siege mode blow up the scarabs, so that should be a way to test it if that's the problem. Although I guess it could be some other issue, like maybe the scarab got ensnared or something. I have no idea. Hey, it had a fully custom model. It had the med bay. That's pretty epic. Well, you were very clearly negatively impacted, I think. I mean, but at the same time, I can't believe that Graveyard got in. You know what I mean? Like, I know I probably said this in the video, and I never mean anything that I say to be an attack against... I can't believe I have to fucking disclaim this. I don't mean what I say to be an attack against a certain developer. I honestly find it difficult to understand that Graveyard, a map that blatantly doesn't even fucking... Like, it doesn't even have shadows in half of the spots, it seems like. There's insane clipping. There's like so many fundamental visual issues with that environment. And that one got in. I assume just because the theme was unique. But fuck off, you know? Like... Yeah, I don't know about that one. I was very surprised to see it in the upper echelons of that contest, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, when you take into account their metrics and what they're actually after, then I can see what you mean, but to me it really did take me by surprise. In terms of just, like, the visuals, man. I wish I was a hotkey for switching to copy, cut, paste. No, iquare. We're talking about the MapCore CS:GO contest that I've been covering the maps for. Graveyard was one of the top 10. But it was just fucked. Visually. And I was commenting that I didn't understand what happened there. No. I think the jungle tile set should have more trees in this style. But if that's what you mean by new trees, then yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, making new sprite entries for them all is going to be annoying until we have the sprite extender. Well, I'm not putting anything out of question. For all I know, a map that isn't even in the top 10 or honorable mentions would win for me. I think right now Feast and Basalt are at the top, though. Because, again, I pride gameplay way higher than anything else. And those maps are both fairly presentable. Like, visually speaking. I don't... Like, there seem to be, like... If I look at it basically like this. If I had to take a map and put it into the current map pool... What map would be the most sound choice for putting into the current map pool? And that means that obviously I'm priding it on gameplay, but also presentability. Like basically, what map needs the least amount of work to be presentable to the current CS:GO community for when it comes to playing maps, right? That's kind of how I'm looking at it. Which is, I think, a more useful metric to judge maps on, and also just a way to judge maps based on their overall quality, because that includes visuals. You want to make sure your visuals are clean, clear, understandable, readable, and, you know, not too cluttered, all this other stuff. So you're trying to make it so that, like, you are taking into account visuals automatically when you do that, so. To me, that makes the most sense. But obviously, I'm not the one running the contest, so I have no idea. I have no idea what map might take it for theirs. I think for me, right now, I think I'm going to look back over them all, but so far I've found it not only the most fun to play Basalt and Feast, but also the most like rewarding to go back and learn lineups and grenades and all that stuff. Like, so it seems to reward tactics, like in the maps that reward both tactics and also like raw skill. I think would be pretty up there. Oh, yeah, that's a good question, iquare. I haven't thought about the sentry turrets because we don't have them implemented yet. I wonder if raiders should prefer those. Maybe one of the raiders factions will. There's going to be 2 at play in the 3rd map, so they may end up using it. I think I played Safi once or twice not so long ago. That seems like a map that has a fair bit of like grounded gameplay to it, but I'm not sure where it would place. I have to take another look, a couple more looks at it, and then make my video. No. Time to boot Photoshop up one more time, get some custom tiles done. Luckily, it's only been about an hour since I started this, so I have plenty of time. Another 2 hours. See you later, Connor. Thanks for hanging out. We'll be bugging you later, I'm sure. I think I scrolled past the frauds. Oh, did you see it? Yeah, the frogs. They are here. Yes, I will put some dead Ahmeds in the map. That is a good bit. I forgot about that somehow. Yeah, for sure.
Our real guide is our own perception. Our perception of common sense.
It only makes sense. It must be carried over. Oh, that's A2, I guess. Hell yeah, man. I'll see you around. Take it easy. Oh, I probably shouldn't have closed that. Whatever you guys do, don't be looking at those frauds. A bad idea. And yes, bridges are unbuildable. I do have I made some custom tiles for blending bridges with dirt, though. What I'll probably end up doing is blending them with something that looks more like temple, I guess. So it looks a bit more natural, but maybe I won't. We'll see. Whew, after Battle Realms, that is a tough question. I have no idea, actually. I think that dude came up pretty well. Surprisingly enough. Oh, I have one of those down here. As the sprite and everything. Let's take a look. What is on the list? Oh, I should probably say that I'm streaming Battle Realms in here. I can probably go into either the classic FPS games and for that'll be what I do for FPS, but I think what I'll next do is Age of Empires 1. That should keep me occupied for quite a while, I think. I have to go into my settings and reset my grid. Too easy, man. Alright. Now we throw this in with the jungle palette. That's not the non-cyclers. That will probably make the water be fucked up, but it's fine. Okay. Close that. Delete these. Okay then. Graphics. Voila! Mwah! Cool. Well, all right then. I'll be right back. When I return, I'm going to be messing around with the base layouts and task list and all that good shit. Basically, gameplay, game flow planning for this map. I shall return. Okay, I'm back. Let's see what we're listening to. Oh. Nothing crazy. Alright, just gotta clean this area up a little bit. And should be good to go. There's so few, there's like 5 different tiles or something that you can do for cliffs. Which is pretty unfortunate that it's that low of a number. I was actually thinking of trying my hand at making some custom cliff doodads and basically making new cliff tiles as a result. For jungle, I think that could be certainly useful, but we don't really need south-facing ones as much as we need north-facing ones. And I feel like the south-facing ones are the easier ones to make, because you can use the existing ones as a base. I mean, if you look at what Blizzard did, they basically have three ones that are pretty close to each other, right? They've got this one that I've got selected, and then the one that's right next to it. And then there's another one that I saw over here. This one over here is basically the same exact one with a slightly modified top and then with grass. And then obviously this one is like a slightly modified top of that one. So, like, very easily modifiable, it seems. And then you've got the face ones, the ones that look like faces. I don't know if Blizzard intended them to look like faces, but for me they always looked like faces. You've got one that looks like this, and then you've got one that doesn't have the giant tooth sticking out of it. And like, those two are very, very close to each other, visually speaking. So, like, there's areas where they very obviously used one as a base and then kept working. Like, just kept rolling on after that. So, in theory, it shouldn't be too difficult to do the same kind of thing, but not sure about the, I think for the north-facing ones, you would want something that's a bit more decidedly unique. Out of L-theanine, man. Can't hold this L anymore. How is Graftquare going? What's left to do with it? I'm assuming a lot, but Like, what is your next step after parsing? And how soon will parsing be done, do you think? You know, one thing I didn't consider when I was making those water bridge blends earlier was blending this. I wonder if... No, it looks like the whole thing would be like it would be obscured. If I blended it with that, obviously the like, oh, maybe not. No, the part of the cliff, like this part right here would extend out, obviously, but it doesn't look like any part of the cliff that's submerged would be showing. So make of that what you will. Also, I still can't believe Blizzard actually shipped it where the game looked like this. This is their idea of tiling, a bridge tile. We definitely need to fix that, because that does not tile. Triggers me. Yeah, like he was killed and left in the water to freeze. Pretty cool. What I never really got about the whole Zerg thing was like they are supposed to regenerate. So why don't their corpses behave more like? I mean, obviously from a gameplay standpoint, it would be really dumb if you had to do this, but doesn't it make some sense for them to need to be like burned alive or something, like burn the bodies, like similar to I mean, there's so many different things from sci-fi history, like The Thing, for example. In Halo, you've got the Flood, where you're not really sure if they're dead or not, but even then they just seem to die arbitrarily, stuff like that. There's so many cliff types of high dirt. Like the high dirt cliff has so many different variants, and yet all we have down here are 5 or 6 or something. I think it's 6. It's pretty much 6. For some reason, they have space for 7. 12. They have space for 12 or something like that. Yeah, 12. But they don't use it. Very peculiar. I did not do that one very well, that's for sure. Actually, I should check to make sure. Uh-huh. I actually fucked up over there, too. Well, that's Blizzard's fuck up. What? Oh, yeah, I have to do that at some point. I guess Blizzard did that anyway. They must have. Wow, nice. Like, what the fuck? These are unedited tiles. I take no responsibility for those ones. Wait, that's real. It just happens normally. Why? Lunacy. All right, let's get our task list started. Let's see. Close home. Looks like there's 15 bases in this map. And I don't see any of them like duplicating or being fucked up in any way, so that's good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Hold on, I'm editing my CSS. Trying to think of what else should be noted here. I guess they won't really be able to drop nukes, right? They don't have access to ghosts for that? I almost can't believe I'm actually working on Inconsummate right now, man. That's pretty cool. Appreciate everybody who's chilling out with me, watching this story unfold. I'm excited to see where this goes. So just remembered that I actually took Defensive Matrix off of the Science Vessel. Which actually means if the vessel only has Irradiate and then eventually an upgrade, they probably need a new passive or something that will... Yeah, they're probably under strength. They are a detector still. I think I cut their gas cost a little bit. But they need to be either cheaper or more impactful some other way. Maybe Irradiate can start researched. I'll make that change a little bit later on. What's going on? Hey, what should I call you? I have no idea how to say your name. I guess I can translate your name. See what I can, how I would pronounce that. But you've been here for a little bit now. You've been hanging out. So I want to make sure I can actually say your name and greet you the way that, you know, should be done.
Ilya Pestin.
Ilya Pestin. I don't know if that's correct. Google? You tell me. Ilya. Cool. Welcome, Ilya. If that's how I'm supposed to pronounce it. Hope you're doing well. Okay. Just writing out the battle plan and starting to do the base layouts for the raiders. Alright, I think we're looking pretty good for the main. Obviously, I need to add more tech and stuff, but I want to keep enough maneuverability, build space, and all that. One of the things that I have noticed is, since I've decided to try to be a little bit more... Wait, is this out of alignment? Oh, it is. Since I've been attempting, right, to be more open with the way that I design stuff, try to be a bit more supportive of playstyles that require a lot of, what's the term, like production structures and stuff. I want to make sure that my maps are open enough that they can place a lot of those. A common issue that I've had with my own content is that my maps tend to be rather cramped. So I wanted to see if I could address that here in this particular map. So far I think we're going pretty well, but obviously I have yet to pop in and play it. Had some leftover rocky ground, apparently. Okay. Question is, where do I want to throw their tech? We want to make sure that we are giving them their, layout in such a way that we're not throwing it in an area that's going to be super vulnerable. So I say maybe right there should be fine. And we should probably pull this jungle out a little bit. Where's... Wow, I can't find the one tile I'm looking for. Anywhere. There we go. Found it. Nice. Okay, so now that I've gotten that out of my system, we've got... They don't have any add-ons, actually, now that I remember. They don't need any add-ons for the science facility. So that's good for this particular map. It means that I can be a little bit more constrained, a little bit more compact. Throw the academy down over here and pull these depots in a little bit. Was thinking of doing something cheeky there. I don't think it's necessary. I do need space for 2 factories and 2 starports. The problem here that I can see happening is we'll end up having a situation where the AI has their production too spread out and not enough space to have a functional layout. That's my fear anyway. I don't want to block off too many areas. Their army will have too difficult a time moving through, if that is the case. Right, so... Start to ask yourself where it makes sense to place stuff. This area is fairly taken care of in that sense. Maybe if they do decide to... Because I imagine they're going to throw out a lot of factories. If they do that, it means that they're going to be siding over here. They're going to be mostly moving their stuff over here. So my basic idea is the playstyle will morph depending on how the early game goes. So if they end up having a fair bit of structures over here in the middle, right? They still have a strong presence over in the middle of the map. They can build stuff behind this. They can expand behind this and try to leverage that while they just keep their other flanks relatively protected. However, if they've lost their main, they probably want to build up in the back and be a little bit more conservative, right? So in that case, I would guess we would be doing something like this. Throwing a bunker or 2 over here. And throwing one right there. And then they could throw, their factory down here, I think. I want to avoid getting hitched up too much by anything. Okay. They could probably toss their starports down in this base. And that's another thing is, what should their expansion path be? I think if they scout a spire, they should probably stray away from taking the island base in the early game. Good one, SCM draft. There you go. Oh. Forgot I don't have them imported here. Can't place them. Okay. Yeah, I write AI for every single mission. Alright, so we have that. Oh yeah, I have to figure out what the magnate apiary is going to be. Yeah, if I end up making a new race or whatever for Starcraft, yeah, I'll have to write them from scratch for sure. But for my own RTS eventually, it'll be a little bit easier to implement stuff like that, I think. I hope. Alright, well. We'll wait for more information on that one. Comment that out for now. But Yeah, I want to make my own. That will eventually happen. Just a matter of time. Very funny that they managed to do that somehow. Oh, Blizzard. Was that 5 or 6 frames? 6. Alright, I think we're good there. Yeah, it'll be science fiction. What I want to do is sort of like... I mean, it's going to be inspired by Starcraft, I'm sure. But I also want to take some other inspiration, some other projects. But yeah, for sure it'll be... It'll be like that. In many ways. I do have a second one of those. Okay. Trying to figure out where I want to throw this one. I guess over here wouldn't hurt. Maybe. Toss it over here. But it will be sci-fi. I'm pretty much like I want honestly everything that I work on is probably going to be sci-fi. That's my jam. Don't need that turret, I guess. Okay. Weird. Wonder why that happened. Oh yeah, forgot about that one. It's alright. I have to redo that asset anyway. No big deal. Alright. Want to keep as many open areas as possible for them to, like, path through and stuff. As a matter of fact, it might make sense to do something like that. Yeah, there's pretty much no new RTS games coming out, unfortunately. Would be great if that were not the case. But that's one of the main reasons I've decided. It seems like I have to, you know, step in and make my own game, because it's the natural progression of things, I guess. Eventually you get to the point where you can't do what you want to do by modding, so you have to go in and make, you know, a new thing entirely. And that's basically where I'm at. There's only so many places I can go with. Editing Starcraft, you know. It's gonna be a long road, but eventually I'll get somewhere with it.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
I gotta wrap things up here today. About 20 minutes. Alright. After this, what do we got? That's it, really. So I didn't get too far into the actual task list. I actually wrote in some stuff for Alganor, but I haven't really figured out exactly what he wants to do there. I don't think Paladins will show up in the first mission. I guess they could show up as a counter to Guardians, but I think it would be better for them to just use Wraiths. That's more familiar to most players. Like, there's already going to be, you know, what's it called? You're already going to see Shamans. Maybe Shamans. I think medics will probably be it, actually. They probably prefer medics. So you'll see medics, as well as Azazels, which will be doing D-Matrix. And they'll try to position themselves around the medics and the Wraiths to give them more energy when they cast spells. Stuff like that. Oh, what's up, Bobu? Welcome back. Trying to decide what I want to do with this area. It's kind of isolated. I have realized I'm kind of treating the ruins as if they were like mushrooms or something, you know what I mean? Like,
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop.
something where they grow in packs. So I try to consolidate them where I can, and where I can't, or rather where there's like small groups of them or whatever, I can do something like this. Just paste the train over there, wipe this out. Still got about 15 minutes. Make the most of it. What happened there? I guess that has to be moved up somewhat. Put it there, that's fine. And I guess that's supposed to be some tile or another. See all sorts of things. Hide the units real quick. There we go. I kind of went down a rabbit hole of decoration here, but that's okay. Gotta make it look natural somehow. Blizzard only gave us 3 different tiles. Oh, I see what happened here. That was my attempt to make that ramp connect. Yeah, that doesn't need to be the case. Surprisingly, that is not a requirement. Nice. Clean that right up. Now here's another thing. When we're placing these jungle trees, we then have to convert them to terrain anyway. Because otherwise they use up more than they ought to, as far as space goes. This is not bad exit music at all. I'll take it. You know, since I've been working with this game for so long, I've always had, like, internal names for a lot of these doodads. Which is pretty funny to me. Because obviously the names, they don't really have names. Like, even when I'm trying to put them to words, I can't tell you what the name is. It's a doodad. But I always think, like, when I see it, it's like, oh, it's that one. I know that one. Yeah, this music is pretty laid back compared to what I normally listen to on these streams, but I don't mind it. It's pretty chill. Alright. Yeah, the AI in Warcraft 3 is... You can't really work with it to make anything, that's for sure. I'll leave it at that. But even in terms of, like, trying to create a fun experience for the player, I don't think it does its... I don't think it does the job. What's up? I'm actually nearly finished. With my stream. So you came in at quite the time. Yes. This AI is going to love infantry. The Infantry Tank Gay Love Association. It's like Mambla, but for Terran units. Oh yeah, I forgot I made that buildable. Neat. Pretty cool. I think I'm going to hold off on them. I thought that they would use Shaman, but I think medics are more tried and true. I think what I'll end up doing is, as I'm developing this, I will experiment with Shamans and see if they are still combat effective. Like, if the AI can use them well without... Like, basically, we need some sort of tactical AI that positions Shamans in a very particular way. We don't really have that right now. Sort of like the Reaver AI, where you put the shuttle between the Reaver and nearby threats, or like the Reaver between... The shuttle's like between an exit trajectory and the Reaver, right? And the Reaver's supposed to be like in front of threats that can attack up. Whereas... Like, the Shaman basically needs to be close enough behind allied organic units that are part of its attack force or whatever. And it needs to try to position itself there before it even activates so that it doesn't slowly walk over. So... It seems like we still need more development on that for now. Alright, I think that's going to do it for me today. I have to get ready for work in an hour. And sweep my floor. That's my itinerary for the day. But thanks everybody for hanging out. Big kisses to y'all. Oh, none of these are actually going to start out on the map. The AI will set them up. These are all markers for where the AI can build things. And I'm not done yet. There's still... I'll probably set up some stuff over here in this area. And then otherwise, who knows? I actually wonder if they should even bother trying to secure anything over on this side of the map, on this side of the river. There's not too much build space that they have at their disposal. They could try to do something over here, and they can get flanked around over here, though. So it seems like that would be too costly, whereas if they control this area, they can just set up a couple bunkers over here or something. That should work. All right. Well, I'm out of here. Bye.